Good evening, viewers, and very welcome to our 2023 Christmas special. Tonight, I am going to take you a little bit back in time and a little bit forward in time. I'm going to talk about the year that's passed, but also give you a few sneak peeks of the year to come. We're also going to have a competition where you can win a solo edition. I'm going to get back to more details about that in a bit, but what is important is that you have a YouTube account so that you're able to participate in the live chat, which should be somewhere to the left or below the video, because you will need to submit your reply in the competition in order to win. Anyway, I'm going to start with the year that's passed and take a look at a few of the highlights of 2023. Starting, of course, with the release of Capture 2023, where I've selected a few highlights that I'd like to take a look at. The first one is the keyboard shortcut editor that we introduced. This lets you, as the name suggests, customize the keyboard shortcuts of the commands in Capture. As the number of commands keeps growing, it's become harder and harder to find meaningful keyboard shortcuts for the commands. So rather than just cram in the weirdest possible combinations you could think of, we've started leaving some commands without shortcuts so that you can provide the shortcuts you prefer. It's also very useful if you don't have an English or a keyboard that is similar to an English keyboard, because in some foreign or non-Latin keyboards, the keys end up in different places and have different characters on them. So even though we have thought through the shortcuts to the best of our ability, it can benefit from some customization in other languages. We also introduced a new Navigate menu, and this works particularly well together with the keyboard shortcut editor. It makes it easier to navigate to other parts of the user interface, and by navigate I mean switching to them or giving them keyboard focus so that you can interact with them. On the documentation side of things, we introduced the ability to export reports directly to PDF. This was a pretty big accomplishment for us, to be honest. Generating a PDF from scratch without the help of any external libraries took quite a bit of reading up on specs. But what's good is that we are now able to show on screen exactly what the report is going to look like in the PDF. This wasn't possible before, as the print and export options worked through HTML, and they would look different on different paper sizes and with different margins and so on. So with Capture 2023, we have the direct export to PDF, which we like a lot. And since we already had direct export of plots to PDF as well, we were able to introduce a new command that exports both plots and reports into the same PDF. So the new export documentation command makes it possible to combine different reports and plots, order them as you need, and then export it all into a single PDF. Finally, with regard to documentation and paperwork anyway, I also want to highlight the plot underlay functionality, which is simple in many ways, but lets you reuse one plot in combination with other plots. A good example would be you make one plot that has only the headers, for instance, and then you inject or use that as an underlay into your other plots. And that means if you want to change the header, you just do that in that template plot that you've used as an underlay. So that makes reuse a lot easier. In the visualization department, I think perhaps the most appreciated feature was the pixel tube visualization that we introduced. Up before Capture 2023, pixel tubes hardly interacted with the environment. They definitely did not illuminate it the way that they did when we released this feature. Not to mention the shadows as well, because now with this feature you have proper lighting from the pixel tubes, which if you think about it isn't a beam actually, but it's more like an omnidirectional that emits light in, well, nearly all directions, depending a little bit on the nature of the pixel tube in question. We also added an OSC server, perhaps not the most widely used feature, but when you do use it, you really need it. So with this, you can trigger camera transitions using OSC, which, as is shown in this video clip, lets other software trigger camera changes. In this case, it's QPilot, which is triggering camera changes in Capture. And finally, I think we added HDRI, high dynamic range images, often called HDRI images, which is weird, but anyway. HDRIs let you do two things. Firstly, it adds a background to the environment. So if you're outdoors, you can have sunsets, forests, cities, whatever you like, surrounding your building or outdoor objects, instead of just a dull black backdrop. Second, they also add lighting to the objects in your design, because the HDRI, in effect, is a recording of the lighting environment. So if you have a strong sunset or city lights, you will see these interact with the objects in your design. But we did more things than just release software. We also went to see the world, the usual places anyway. We went to Frankfurt to the Pro Light and Sound Show, and to LDI in Las Vegas, quite recently actually. And we got to meet a lot of you guys and other users who were there, which was really nice. And as you may have noticed recently, our team is also growing and has been since last autumn, in fact. We did update our website not too long ago, adding more of our faces there. Anastasia is one of the latest-ish additions to the team. She works as a 3D designer, and she's been drawing the new characters that you can find in the library, for instance. She's also been busy drawing custom truss elements, together with Vasilis, who is in charge of the library department, so to speak, handling your truss and custom object library requests and delivering them to you. We have more people coming in. If you have been mailing with support recently, you may have read more names, but I will talk more about that another day. Coming back to the custom truss objects and library elements, we also added a dedicated library updates forum where Vasilis informs you all about the latest additions. In this case, there's a post about the Lightporter modular transport system, but you can also find information about truss pieces or any other 3D objects that are related to our business. So make sure to subscribe in this forum so that you learn about all the nice additions that drop in. We did also managed to squeeze in a trip to Germany a couple of months ago. We are currently working on editing the material to bring it to you soon. We met with Marco Vitale, who many of you may know either from a trade show booth of ours or from the user group on Facebook, where Marco has been quite active. He also has a 3D asset initiative going. I would like to say for capture, but I'm not sure it's necessarily just for capture, but many of you know who it is, and we're happy to have a video with an interview with him coming out pretty soon. So those were the main highlights perhaps of the year of 2023. This is the point where I start talking about the competition of tonight. So we are running a competition tonight where you can win a solo edition. In order to do that, you are going to have to make a guess on a number that I'm going to talk about soon, and you will need to post that in the live chat next to the video. You'll be able to make exactly one guess. So the first number you guess is the one that counts, and in the event that nobody guesses the correct number, then the closest will win. So what I want you to guess about is in fact related to the custom truss items that I've been talking about, that Anastasia and Vasilis are managing in the library. So in Capture 2022, we introduced the feature that we called custom truss items, and in fact it's not just about truss, it's about also things like fences and indeed even the characters that we have in the library today. So Anastasia and Vasilis have been actively working on this since, well, Capture 2022, adding objects to the library. So, well, obviously you can find all these in the library tab in Capture. The characters would be under the objects category. And there are other categories there as well with relevant stage equipment. And then, of course, the custom trussing is under the truss category with things like pre-rigged trusses, H-bars, T-bars, and whatnot. So the question in the competition tonight is, how many custom truss items do you think we've managed to add to the library so far? So it's how many custom truss items do we have in the library, and that means it's the ones that we've drawn manually, so to speak, and not the old parametric that we've had since day one. Make your guess and write it in the live chat, and the first person to either make the correct guess or the person who gets closest to the correct answer will be the winner. The competition ends before the end of this webcast, and I'm going to let you know again when the deadline approaches for making your guesses. And now I'm going to move on to the first teaser of Capture 2024. This is a paperwork-related feature that we are quite proud to deliver, and it's related to scenes and plots. In this design here, at the far edges, at the edges of the stage, there's two dance towers. They are back in the corners. I've tried to highlight them a bit with an orange rectangle here. And there are two scenes. In this scene, the dance towers are, well, a little bit more than a meter away from the edge or the corner of the stage. And in the next scene, the dance towers are at a closer location to the stage. So if we go back, there is a scene called Towers Far and a scene called Towers Near. So far there's nothing new here, it's using the features we've already had. But what is new is that in plots, you will be able to add views to the plot and specify per view which scene it should be showing. So in this case, on the left side of the plot, we have a view showing the Towers Far scene with the measurement showing that the dance tower is 1.55 meters away from the edge of the stage. And then in the right-hand view, we've got the Towers Near scene, which is, showing the tower in the other location. This means that you can be a lot more flexible with the paperwork, not requiring you, for instance, to switch between different scenes before printing plots, which I know is a workaround that some people have been using. You could even get more creative and create some very special views using the scenes, even though it's not what they're meant to be doing, but I'm sure that we will see many creative uses of this functionality. So we are happy to be bringing this to you and hope that you will enjoy that as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. All right, it's time for a change of topic, and this time we are going to be talking about international characters and something that we did recently that we also posted about on our website, and that is a character that we adopted, the centerline character. So this is a little bit special, so I wanted to take the opportunity to explain what this is about. So what we've really done actually is that we have sponsored the Unicode consortium. They've created this adoption program where anyone can adopt a character. It's a way for them of gathering money. It's a non-profit organization, and we believe their work is quite important, and we will in fact soon even be profiting from it. The Unicode consortium, what they do basically is that they catalog all the characters of all the languages. They classify them depending on their script and purpose, and then they put them in tables and assign numbers to them. You may have heard about things like ASCII code, which means a number representing a letter. So for instance, 40 might represent small a. I'm sure that's not the case, but anyway, there is a number for every character. And this is central and very important for basically every computer system on Earth, and even outside Earth for that matter. And now that we've added direct export to PDF, and we are working a lot with text-related functionality in Capture, then the work of the Unicode consortium is of great benefit to us. We are in fact using some of their software now to detect languages in text, for instance. And we think it is important that computer software can be used in different cultures with different languages all around the world. Historically, there's been in a sense, unfair bias towards cultures with a Latin alphabet, because that's what computers were originally made for. The ASCII codes that we know, they're all for the Latin characters. And it's only in the later years that the ability to use all languages in a computer has really actually started working, so to speak. Anyway, we are happy to be contributing to the Unicode consortium and making the world a better place and our software better as well. Next, we are going to take a look at what you all have been doing with Capture the past year. And this marks the last opportunity for you to make your guess in our competition for how many custom truss pieces we have in the library. So while the pictures will be rolling for the next few minutes, make sure to put your guesses in the live chat so we can figure out who the winner is. And now, please enjoy your own work with Capture as posted on Instagram the past year. Thank you so much, everyone, for uploading your photos and pictures to Instagram and tagging us. It's a real pleasure looking through all of them like this, but also following it throughout the year to see what you're all doing with Capture. And with that, we are closing the competition. So the deadline for making guesses is now over, and my colleagues are going to help me find out who the winner of the competition was, which I'm going to be announcing shortly after the next segment, which is our second teaser of Capture 2024. And this is a feature that many of you have been asking for, well, relatively many at least. Some are going to be properly delighted, some are going to be surprised, astonished, and maybe a little bit annoyed. But anyway, it is a very useful feature and something that we really look forward to seeing with what you will be doing in your pictures on Instagram and wherever you post your Capture renders. In 2024, we will be adding animated objects. In this case, it's one of the characters in the library, a new character. He's called Chad and he plays the drums. Our plan, of course, is to bring animations to as many of our characters as possible. It's also going to be possible, of course, to import your own animated objects into Capture using the GLTF file format, which we already support. And once imported, you have the option of choosing which animation the object should be playing or following, as well as tweaking the speed of the animation. While, of course, one of the obvious uses for this is characters or people on stage. Also keep in mind that animated objects could be used for other things like curtains or objects that are motorized in some way. So we look forward to seeing what you will do with the new animated objects in Capture 2024, and I also much look forward to reading all your comments about whether we changed our mind or not, but it's not that we ever thought it was a bad idea, it's just that other things have taken priority so far. I can also announce that we don't have any plans of adding any dancing rappers at the moment, but who knows? Keep in mind that you can also request specific types of characters from our library department if you want to change the course of what type of characters we are adding. And with that, we thank Chad for playing the drums for us, and we get back to announcing the winner in the competition, for which I'm going to reach out to my colleague. And yes, it seems we have someone who is closest to the correct answer. So the correct answer to the question, how many custom truss items do we have in the library, would have been 415. That's how many custom truss items we have. And the person to get closest is Christoph Gasser, or Gasser possibly. His guess was 340, which is maybe, I guess, the highest number anyone guessed, and still the number was even larger. So, Christoph, please mail us at support@capture.se so that we can get back to you with your solo edition that you have won. Many congratulations for winning that. And with that, I would like to thank you all for watching, for using Capture and being our users. I wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you again soon next year. Thank you.